start changing society? I mean, if you've got people entrenched in power, and then that you're devolving power to other groups of people, how do people start taking this control?
Well, we've created this group, somepeople.org, and some is SUM, as in addition. And what we believe is adding up small little amounts of resources and influence and judgment, and people sort of consciously committing to getting involved in creating something that's larger than themselves, and something where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And in game theory, they talk about non-zero sum games, and the example is a zero sum game is a birthday party where you have 6 people at the birthday party and 1 birthday cake with 6 slices. Well, if the birthday boy wants 2 slices, everybody else only gets, someone's got to not get a slice of cake, and that's a zero sum game. But the entire story of evolution is really about us figuring out non-zero ways, and non-zero means you've got 6 people at a birthday party, everyone wants a second piece of cake. Someone says, well, there's flour in the cupboard, and I know how to bake, and someone else, and together you all bake a second cake, and everybody gets a second slice.
How did you come up with this idea?
I was at school in New Haven, Connecticut, and I was watching a Fred Friendly seminar. He was a very famous journalist, and it was talking about the rise of corporate power. And in that interview, Akito Morita, the founder of Sony, was there. And Akito Morita made the simple statement that nations are a dying industry. Corporations are the structures of the future. And this was over 20 years ago. And it just floored me, that concept that nations are a dying industry. And I've been struggling with trying to understand that thought ever since, almost 30 years later. 2007 was the first year in human history that of the 100 largest economies in the world, 51%, the majority, are now corporations, not governments. We are now in the age of the corporate state, and it's as big of a social shift as when the nation state usurped the church. And just in thinking through that one simple idea is what has led me here. Well, there's a lot of work going on now talking about adaptive structures, complex adaptive structures, and the science of complexity. And there's a very, very good book called The Starfish and the Spider, which talks about the difference between a starfish organization and a spider organization. They both look kind of the same, but if you cut the head off of a spider, it dies. If you cut the arm off of a starfish, it actually grows another starfish, because it's a non-hierarchical system. There's lots of examples of these starfish kinds of organizations really out-competing spider organizations. And one example is in the online encyclopedia area. Microsoft was a spider. Microsoft put millions of dollars into creating an online encyclopedia. Wikipedia was a starfish. Wikipedia was a bunch of people doing it for the love of it, but because they were decentralized and because of new technologies, and many of these things are only possible now within the last 10 years, we're just beginning to develop the technologies which will allow us to organize in these new ways. But what happened was Wikipedia outcompeted Microsoft with almost no resources and with people simply doing it for the love and passion and the mastery of being able to express their knowledge of a particular subject. So there are chances for us to create corporations that are decentralized, that actually make better decisions, begin to aggregate the judgments of people in a way that unleashes the creativity. One of the problems we have is there's so many people dealing with the parts. So the idea behind some people is you put out a vision and you begin to tap these groups in. So they can come in, but they come in representing their area of expertise. It's not like they lose their identity by joining some people.
Well, what do you do about the profit motive? I mean, for example, you talk about the Wikipedia, and people did it out of love.
Yeah.
But if you want to get something totally accomplished, and not, you have to have somebody who's totally committed to it.
The fact is we need to hunt to live. And whereas Wikipedia, from a strictly financial point of view, if Microsoft had succeeded, they would be making much more money with their encyclopedia than Wikipedia did. So it's not necessarily a good way to hunt. So the purpose of Wikipedia was not to make money. The purpose of Wikipedia was to create an online resource of knowledge. But we can bring those same tools to play in for-profit enterprises, in enterprises where the very purpose of them is to bring back resources. So I actually think there's some incredible business opportunities that use the organizational structure of Wikipedia, but their purpose and their mission is to bring resources home for a community of people. We're at the cusp of a really, really exciting age, and that age can be just and fair and abundant and creative and loving. Well, I'm Michael Rogers. I can be contacted at m@somepeople.org, and that's SUM. You can go on to somepeople.org. There's a link to our forum, so you can go on the forum and begin to help, just like a wiki, you can begin to help forge the direction of this organization. We're asking people to become members because for me to go to a politician or to some leader and say, hi, I'm this one crazy individual, has no influence. But if I can go as a representative of a group of people and we can elect other people to go and work on different issues, we can begin to become a very, very powerful organization.